How's it going, guys? Andrew here.
And Connor.
Welcome to, my goodness, a reaction review.
Oh my lord, when was the last one that we did?
Was it Kajillionaire?
I think so. Was that in September?
That was definitely September.
Oh lordy.
Guys, it's been a minute. To be fair, I don't think really movies came out in October.
I mean, I guess they technically did, but nothing that we were like too crazy about.
Yeah, nothing that we're too crazy
Not that
about.
we were crazy about Kajillionaire, but that was like A-list. So
yeah, and then ripped to that.
That was our last A-list movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we had to wait 6
RIP.
months to download it again.
Exactly.
I was like, wow, A-list, you're very sensitive with people who can't see.
Oh yeah, well they've always had that policy.
Yeah, I didn't know
believe it or
that,
not. Yeah,
but-
they're terrible.
But what are we talking about today?
We were talking about David Fincher's latest film,
The Return to Cinema, Mr. Fincher.
Mank.
Starring Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, Amanda Seyfried,
Yes.
and Lily Collins. I guess she could get third billing. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
He's
So
a biggish actor.
going in, first let's just talk about Fincher really quick as the director.
The first film in 6 years.
Yeah, his last film was Gone Girl, and then he kind of went to TV, and he produced some shows on Netflix, and I assume while doing that, he was working with his brother, Jack Fincher, on this script, and for Mank, and did a lot of research on who he was as a person, and specifically his relationship with Orson Welles, which wasn't that big of a plot point, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about you,
Mm-hmm.
but like I thought I was really gonna dive more deep into the relationship between him and Orson Welles, but I guess they
Right.
just really didn't. Maybe they just didn't really have one.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe like that is how we see it in the film. You know, like
Maybe
basically phone calls until the very end.
Yeah. So, but pretty much, Fincher, I'm glad you're back.
Fincher
But I-
baby.
Will say, kind of like you, this is definitely. I don't even think my top 5 Fincher films.
No, I don't think so either.
No, it's not bad. It's just not my top 5.
Other than Alien 3, is he gonna make anything bad? Let's be real. Come on, let's take Fincher.
For real, like I don't think he's really gonna make anything bad.
Yeah.
And like, and so like that, like don't have that turn off that like this isn't Fincher's masterpiece.
Right.
But it is just like we kind of like the biggest thing is that like the conclusion, this is like his most niche topic ever that he's wanted to do.
Yeah, pretty much, because like he's mostly, I guess, besides Benjamin Button, I guess that would be his second most niche, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that one yet, so
yeah, I
couldn't
mean
say, but
it's more of just a drama instead of his typical like thriller drama horror thing.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, well, I think you said it like we were gonna be excited about it regardless, but like, you know, like, oh yes, David Fincher, do your own thing.
yeah.
But like the typical audience is like, oh, this isn't a David Fincher movie. Well, where's the Seven and the Fight Club and the Gone Girl?
Yeah.
Where's this?
Who are all of these historical figures?
Why
that we
is
have
it
no
black and
idea?
white? I don't like black and white. That's an old movie.
And like that's one big thing. Like if you don't know classic Hollywood era,
Yeah.
you don't know the big people that ran MGM,
Right.
and you're gonna be lost for a majority of this movie. Like by the end of the movie, you'll like kind of be connecting the dots, but like there's a lot of like just
If you're really good with just names,
Yeah.
maybe you could keep up. But
there's a lot
know.
of like Hollywood business like lingo in it. There's a lot of stars in it. And when I mean stars, I mean like people from like the 30s and 40s that were like big at the time,
Right.
like not like cameos or anything.
If you didn't take one history of film class, you might be a little lost.
You might be a little lost. And so that could suffer for the classic people, not the classic, the average moviegoer.
Yeah.
But for people like us, we understood it and we were here for it, and it
Mhm.
was cool. Like just I think you brought it up that like there's not a lot of big names in this movie,
No.
which really helps drive more of the characters that they're portraying than just the
Right.
star power that's
They're
in
just
it.
like character actors, and
Yeah.
like they're giving it their all, and it's great.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like how much you cared about more of those people than Mank himself.
Yeah, I mean Gary Oldman, he gives a really good performance, but like he probably was, I wouldn't say like the least like interesting character, but like I cared more about like Amanda, and just
she
like
was great, by the way.
she was the standout performance. Like her character was very powerful, and like she really is almost the centerpiece of, like they kind of drive home the whole. I don't want to like give away what the movie's about, but it's about writing Citizen Kane,
Mhm.
and so pretty much the movie has the present day with Mank writing the script, and then flashbacks to important moments in his life that will eventually reflect into writing the script.
like influences of the script, basically.
And so, what did you think on that? What do you think about the jumping between present and flashbacks?
Like we keep saying, like you said, like I said, blah blah blah.
We
But
talked about this a few days ago.
Yeah,
We saw,
unfortunately,
like-
Akshay is not here, but
Yeah.
we did. Of course, we were gonna have a convo after the movie on a long ride home in the rain at night. But I would say I was definitely more interested in everything outside of his writing house, which is mostly flashbacks, because like you're so limited inside that house, and it's obvious. Well, most of the film's dialogue driven anyway, but I'm saying like it's not constrained into him being in a bed or in a chair and then talking across the room to someone and just bouncing back and forth, and Fincher doing his best to like make it look interesting, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fine bouncing back and forth. I got there's a little spider. Bye bye. I kind of got a little annoyed of it keeping on telling us like
interior 1934
it was cute the
flashback.
first couple times because it's like, oh, it's like writing a script, but like
Yeah.
I think the only reason why they put that up there is to like years.
Because I think people could get very confused, like
Yeah, like when this happens.
Yeah, I understand why they
So
did it.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like a personal thing. I got a little annoyed by that. I just get annoyed by like them having to tell us like it was more so like we know it's a flashback, but like at the time I wasn't thinking like, oh, it's probably from the year. Because like obviously I didn't watch the whole movie yet, but yeah, I was just way more interested in the flashbacks.
You briefly said how like Fincher was trying to do his best with the camera work, the cinematography, the lighting, the set design, the costumes, all of the behind the scenes stuff.
Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross's score, pretty great as always.
Like
very different this time.
Everything on a technical aspect is like
you know what you're gonna get from a Fincher production.
It's really just like the story is where it's just not as intriguing.
Yeah.
And like I will return to this film because at first I feel like the first act is really throwing you in there with all these characters, and I kind of felt overwhelmed. And then eventually by the end I was very comfortable, but I definitely would want to watch it again. But like it's just one of those movies that like it kind of feels just like it's going for Best Picture nomination. Like it's just like it's trying to be Best Picture, and it's a biopic, and it's
saying
a political
like
message.
in terms of his other works.
Yes.
Okay.
It feels like he's trying to get a Best Picture here.
Yeah.
When instead, Fincher's known to just make a movie that he wants to make. It feels like here he's like, please, can I get a Best Picture for once? I'm a really good director.
Netflix, do I have the project for you?
So, which is nothing against him. Every director, I feel like, has tried to, make their Oscar baity movie. And this isn't like not really Oscar baity, but it does lean towards, the classic Hollywood. Like they love the old timey stuff, like a La La Land or something like that.
Do you feel like you are feeling it's more of a Oscar baity because it's released in this year where it's so weak that it could be so obvious that it will definitely get nominations? Or do you think if it was in like a crowded field like last year, do you think this would get nominations?
I think it would still get nominations. Yes. Yeah, I think it would, because it panders to that Hollywood.
Yeah, but he usually does get like some technical nominations.
But like I feel
it has been a while. It's been 6 years since he has gotten.
I think he would have gotten nominated last year. I don't think he would have won, but I think he would have gotten nominated last year for sure. I mean, Parasite still was the best movie. So
yeah, come on, man.
They weren't
gonna pass that up. That softball of a pitch.
But yeah, overall, I mean, we haven't really talked about the acting, but Gary Oldman was good. He was pretty much drunk the entire movie, so that was pretty easy for him just to be loop-de-loo.
He goes on a pretty epic drunk tirade toward the end of the film.
Yeah, which Akshay and I were not fans of, because if you've seen Citizen Kane, you're just like doof, 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 just like pandering to the audience, like.
It's impressive from a Gary Oldman perspective, but like
acting
the substance of the
like he's
scene.
He's doing great. It's just like, man, you could have done something better here.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue could have been better.
Maybe Jack needs to work on it a little bit more, like just screenwriting 101.
And you said it. You felt like this was written today, like for today.
Yeah, like a modern
Yeah.
person wrote this script, other than like I don't know, like someone that wrote it in like the 70s or something, you know. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's just gonna happen regardless. So you know, can't help that. But I like, yeah. So like we did talk about it in the car. How did you feel about like the political aspects? And Akshay gave us some insight. I hate that he's not here to explain it.
Yeah.
But with Akshay's information, how do you feel about it now? In retrospect,
It's. I guess you could say it's needed. I just don't know how big of an influence Mank was in that.
yeah.
Like I
In
feel
that
like
field.
yeah, I feel like they gave Mank these political, like, I guess just like these ideas and thoughts that he had, and they made it very prominent. And like everybody has like their political views, but like to extent like how invested was he, the real Mank to this Mank, because this Mank was like.
He's like, yeah.
He was like perfect.
The
He,
political savior
Yeah.
in the GOP.
He was like 1 against a million. He's like, hear me out. I'm going to change everything here.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
how much of this is actually.
It's like, actually, my opinion is better.
But it
It's
really,
like,
it really did throw me.
I'm like, I agree with your opinion,
Yeah.
Meg, but like, were you really like this?
Yeah.
Like surrounded by all these people.
And that's where like the like writing it. today.
that was mainly where my
Yeah.
gripe came from. Where like, oh, this sounds really modern, because like obviously like so progressive ideologies are like becoming stronger and stronger as it goes on.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Jack and maybe even David are, you know, pretty progressive. And they're like, oh, you know, maybe that's why they wanted to write about Mank. Maybe, you know, who knows? But, you know, whatever. I thought
I mean,
it
is
was
there like
fun.
even a book like the you know you could just read about his life?
Maybe.
Like,
I don't think
know.
it was based on anything. I think like in the credits at least.
And also, what I wish we would have Akshay here. We'll just have to get him on a podcast.
The ghost of Akshay
Yeah.
Bhatia.
He is like totally for Orson Welles, and
Huge
Fincher
Orson Welles fan.
is not. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting to see Akshay. Like I didn't know that until in the car ride where he was like, "Dude, I'm a huge Orson Welles fan." I'm like, "Oh, like I did not know
Oh
that."
yeah, when this was announced and like when I learned about that he was a big Orson fan, I was like, this is perfect for you. So I'm sure he was so excited for this, and like turns out he was like, it's really good, but
Yeah, but he had.
it's
his
not his
issues.
best. Yeah, exactly. So
what would you grade it?
I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. It's pretty comfy 8 for now. I guess I'll have to watch it again. But I always say that I gotta watch Netflix movies again because I've been seeing more and more in theaters, like Roma and Marriage Story and Irishman, and I never get around to it on Netflix. I had to watch it twice in theaters, which I don't think I will this time around.
Yeah.
So eventually, maybe if I have time, I'll watch Mank again. But yeah, for now, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, solid B for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's definitely his least, I don't know about least rewatchable film. I haven't seen all of them yet. I still need to see Benjamin Button and Dragon
Alien
Tattoo.
3.
Fuck that movie. But yeah, like I enjoyed it. Everything's really good. It's just like the story.
I did feel the pacing was not at Fincher's best.
It felt like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it.
I felt like it kept going on, and I'm like, oh, I thought I was gonna wrap, around here.
See,
but
like,
I guess not.
Like usually his movies, I feel like fly by, and you're like,
Exactly.
wow, like that.
And
was really
it helps
good.
because like they're thrillers, so
Yeah.
like you're always on the edge of your seat, wanting to see what happens.
But this
next.
one just it didn't for me it didn't drag on, but it felt I was like, that was the movie.
Yeah.
It didn't feel shorter or longer. That was it. So.
So for me, it would be curious to, no pun intended, curious to watch Curious Case again.
Well, we
because
will
it's
see.
long as shit and it's a drama.
It's in the jar, isn't
yeah,
it?
you put it in, right?
Yeah, I gotta finish my
Our little
Fincher
jar.
filmography. So
Little jar shout out.
our 100 films a jar. We'll talk about this.
Oh.
Alrighty. Well, hopefully we'll get to see at least a few more movies.
Check
in
it out on
theaters.
Netflix.
Yeah, check it out on Netflix on the 4th. This will be probably dropping like today or tomorrow. I don't know what the reference time.
You decide what
You'll
today
decide,
or tomorrow means.
Or next year. So if you're watching this next year, then you're a little late.
Hello.
So But without further ado, guys, this has been Andrew.
This has been Connor.
Peace.
Been good.